Okay, I want to talk a little bit about perfectionism in your bullet journal, and I want to talk a little bit about messy play as well, especially as an adult. And there's psychological benefits to being messy, and there is really no need for you to fixate on perfectionism. It can be really challenging not to do that though. As a perfectionist myself, I really struggle with that. I struggle with that because growing up, I had to get straight A's and I had to do really well and I had to be super organized because that was expected of me. Now as an adult, I really struggle to kind of be messy and have fun, but also put boundaries in around my perfectionism. So what I do to be able to kind of be a little bit more messy and a little bit more messy play with my style is that I end up doing a little bit more around kind of creative messy play. And you'll see in the next part, and I want you to join along with me. Essentially what I'm going to be doing today is just putting a whole bunch of messy, thick acrylic on paper. I'm going to smush it together. I'm going to create different textures. I'm going to use some watercolor, and I'm going to put it all together to kind of just create something for me rather than for Instagram or for anywhere else. Well, the irony here is that it's for YouTube, but jokes. But essentially something that is just a little bit more messy play than what I'm usually accustomed to. Now, I've got a couple of different ways that I do this, and at the moment what I've been doing is I've been following a massive Instagrammer who is really into thick-bodied acrylics. They add a modeling, and I'll move them over here. They add a bunch of like modeling paste to the acrylic to make it really thick so that you can do almost 3D artistry with it. I found it really interesting that I posted some shorts and reels about it, and I got some really shitty comments about how I was wasting paint. It's like, dude, I'm actually using only a little bit of paint. I'm mixing it with modeling paste, so unless you're wasting the modeling paste, and also it's my paint to waste. So I was really grateful that this artist had actually a section on haters on Instagram and other places. I was just really surprised that people are like telling us how to use paint. Like I'm not as an adept artist as she is, obviously, but I'm using it more as a me thing to kind of really just get more in tune with being messy and not perfect. So as we're going through kind of this messy play, I just wanted to remind you that if this was your reminder, right now is your reminder to not be as hung up about mistakes in your journal or in anything that you're creating. Don't be fixated on it because it's not benefiting you, and it's not benefiting your productivity, and it's not benefiting your creativity. So let's get started with my bit of messy play. Okay, some ways that you can incorporate your messy play into your bullet journal is actually really simple. And I'm going to talk you through it so that you can give it a go. I'm not going to show you how to do it because you need to kind of think through this creativity for yourself. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is when you're creating your bullet journal spread, include a little box in the corner which you can add doodles or a mess or like whatever it is, thoughts, ideas, brainstorm, whatever it is, just add a little box that you know is your space for extra creativity. It could be a splash of color, it could be a sticker, it could be whatever it is. You might not even end up using it. Don't get hung up about it, but have it there so that you remind yourself. You've got a visual reminder to be creative, you've got a visual reminder to kind of let go of that perfectionism, and you've got kind of that visual reminder there to say, hey, you know what, I have given myself permission to play a little bit, to be creative. I've done it in the past where I've added something, just a little space to be creative or to add a doodle, and I end up usually just putting my thoughts down into it. Okay, So the other thing I wanted to bring up around perfectionism, and especially in your notebook, is there's been times where I've created an entire notebook for a year and have absolutely hated it because of one small mistake. And I've now kind of come to the realization, or kind of come to the point where actually that's not super great, and I end up loathing the journal for the entire rest of the time because something isn't perfect with it or something isn't right with it. I've now become a lot more accepting of that, and you know, I've got my other bullet journal friends who have got such beautiful handwriting and their stuff is so perfect, but in reality when you open up my notebook it's just a hot mess express. Actually, I think this is it here. Actually, at the moment I'm using a Happy Planner, and if I'm quite honest with you, it's just messy. Everything about it is absolutely messy, and I'll pull it out so I can show you. But it's really messy at the moment, and that's okay because that's kind of the phase I'm in right now. Is just messy. It's organized, sure, but messy, and I can't hold on to it being perfect if, you know, if I know that my handwriting is messy. I've got big handwriting. Sometimes I've got really neat handwriting. Sometimes, you can see here, sometimes it looks really great, but the rest of the time it's really just me scribbling down thoughts and scribbling down ideas and making sure that, see here, I tried really hard to be as neat as possible, even created a beautiful spread. Didn't work out so good. So that's why I've incorporated this kind of messy play into my space, and you can see here with today's session I've just created a mess. What am I going to do with it? It's coming up for Christmas. I could bundle it, not just Christmas presents, to be like, oh my god, look what I made for you for Christmas. No, I wouldn't put anyone through that. Oh my god, that would be so bad. Actually, it's not a bad idea, but it would be so bad. Maybe I could wrap it up with bows. This is terrible. I wouldn't put someone through that, no. Fast forwarding. So kind of coming back to that, I just want to make sure that, you know, when you're playing and you're having fun, that's the point, is play and have fun and do something that kind of just reignites your creativity. And you know, one of the things I really recently struggled with was kind of reigniting that creativity. So I found this really great book. Grab it. Okay, here it is. I found this really great book. It's called The Sketchbook Idea Generator, and this is really good for your bullet journal as well. And essentially what it is it's a kind of a, you just kind of zoom up the top and it gives you an idea, and then zoom at the bottom and it gives you an idea, and then it gives you a color palette as well. And I love this because it kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone, and it really gets me to kind of focus in on what I can try that's totally different from the norm. So that kind of gets me a little bit excited. The book, I'll link it over here and I'll link it down below. The book itself is called The Sketchbook Idea Generator. Now, shameless plug, if you are looking for bullet journal ideas, don't forget that we have the Bullet Journal Idea Generator. I kind of got the idea from this book because there just wasn't something that you could press a button and bloop, there were some suggestions, so I've done that. I'm going to keep editing it as well, so I might add colored palettes and ideas or suggestions that you could use to really create something fun for your month. And if you have used it already, I would love to hear in the comments below. Okay, that brings us to the end of our kind of messy play creative session. I'm really excited that you've joined me this far. I tried to keep this this video as short as possible, but also as informative as possible around being messy and being perfect, or being, you know, not being able to make mistakes. I really wanted to obviously share my notebook with you, which I've done, and I would love if you could stick around and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. I always feel so weird saying that. Stay if you want to stay, go if you want to go. But it would be great if you stayed, and would love to see you around again. And as I say, feel free to hit in the comments below any other topics you would like me to talk about. It would be great to hear that feedback, and potentially just some things that you might like to see in the future. So have an amazing rest of the day or evening wherever you are, and incorporate some of that messy play into your journal.